What is up, everyone? It is your boy Ferious. This is the second episode of the ZModeler series, and in today's episode, we're going to be installing, configuring the Lightbar. Just a Lightbar, as I mentioned in the last video. I'm going to be doing every little thing that you have to do in order to make a decent non-ELS vehicle step by step. So that means each step is going to be practically a brand new video. So next video will probably be how to install visors and so on, dash lights, push bar, collisions, stuff like that. But this episode number 2, is going to be mainly just on configuring the light bar and having it work in game. So the first link in the description below is actually going to take you to Google Drive. This is a folder I made in my Google Drive, and it's called ZMoD series. So any downloads that from me that I want y'all to download to follow along will be in this folder right here. As of now, there's just a meta.rar, but as we go on and on without the series, there's obviously going to be more, such as the movable spotlight, dummy, and stuff like that. So you're going to want to download this beta.rar or have downloaded. And it's pretty much just this folder right here. Just all your betas that you need, a resource, and then the stream. So 5M ready practically. And then these, if you open them, they should be filled with stuff. But obviously the spawn codes and stuff, I added them with the change. So anything that says change, you obviously got to change, and so forth. So we don't need this right now. Just make sure you have it downloaded. So you're gonna want to open the workspace folder that we created last time, and let me go ahead and open that Z3D. We are using Walter's Federal Signal Legend for this tutorial series. Once open, click LO, and then, as you guys know by now, I like to use 2 planes only. Okay, just hide it like this. All right. So since I'm just gonna be installing the light bar, I'm gonna get rid of the push bar as I don't need it right now. I'm not doing that. So we're gonna want to deselect everything except the emissives. So these are the emissives. So we're gonna have to detach them, so we're able to create them, into sirens and eventually a pattern. Because if we have it all attached like this is gonna be basically one siren. And when we have one siren, when in game, when you turn on the lights, this is literally going to be the flash pattern, like all of that on. Obviously, we don't want that. So we're going to go ahead and left click, hold, select. It should turn red. You got a top view, full screen if you want. Zoom in, make sure auto is on. Polygon mode, and make sure nothing is selected. So just click anywhere. And then go over here with the detach polygon. It should be on modify. And it should be the 4th button down, detaches polygon from the object, and make sure the settings are like this. To new object on, keep original off, and it will drag on. And then go to select and separated. And you're gonna want to detach all these one by one. So left click and drag upwards to make it the box turn green, and then just hover over the light mesh, and then just left click and it should detach. So if we turn this off, boom, it's on its own, right? And you're gonna want to do this to all of them. So once again, once you're done with one, it's gonna reset back to normal mode, and then just click back to polygon mode, and so forth. Detach. You can turn these off if you want. I usually keep them on because they're not too distracting for me. But if they get too distracting, go ahead and turn them off as you go. So depending on the light bar you're using, some of them might be harder to detach. So like right here, since we're on the angle, make sure you don't deselect another one from here on accident. You just want to select one mesh at a time. So like right there, that should be one. Yep. And you're gonna want to do this, like I said, for every single mesh. I'm gonna fast forward this, and I'll see you once I'm done. Shit, my bad. All right, so once you get to the last one and you want to detach the last one, it won't let you. It's gonna prompt an error. That means that you're done deselecting all of them. And then let's turn back these on along with this one. And that means if you click or hover over each one, it should be on its own. That's what we want. These eye lights are the only ones that are not detached. So let's go ahead and do that. Same process. We're done. Okay. What's the extra one? Extra one is the takedowns. For this light bar, I'm not gonna have them flash with the light pattern. I will, however, set them up as extra lights. So we'll go over that towards the end. So just select all the Emis, emissives, turn them on. And now this is where your creativity comes in play, right? So obviously we don't want them all attached by one, or else that would be just one literally dull, one singular flash pattern, which is absolute dog shit. I mean, if it's a single ion, then yeah, it would make sense. But if it's a full light bar, it's the main masterpiece of the vehicle, then no, we don't want that. So we have something called sirens in GTA 5, and there's a total of 20 sirens. So the more you use on a single lighting accessory, the less you will have for other lights around the vehicle. So ideally, I would say for light bar, a generic light bar pattern would be anywhere from 4 to 6 sirens max per whole light bar. And obviously, if you're trying to replicate an IRO departments, they don't necessarily have that much of Christmas lighting. It's mainly just a light bar, push bar lights, and then backlighting, and possibly 1 or 2 side lights, and that's about it. Whereas 5M vehicles, they have 12 extras: light bar, visor, takedowns, push bar, wrap, grill lights, rear deck bar, shit ton of lights, which honestly just leads one using more sirens, which creates a more dull pattern back and forth. So for this charger, I'm not going to be going the 5M way, which is just a shit ton of lights with a bunch of extras. I'm gonna go more towards the direction of a more realistic vehicle, so that gives me more leeway to use more sirens. So for this light bar, I'm gonna use let's use up to 10 sirens, just so we have room for reflections. But considering the fact that this is a ZModeler beginner's tutorial, I'm not going to use 10 sirens as my public release charger, image right above. I believe I use about 8 to 10 sirens just to achieve that roof reflections. But since we're starting out, that obviously doesn't matter quite yet. So I'm just going to limit myself to 4 sirens. So go up here, modify attach, make sure it should be exactly like this when you open the drop down menu. And then we're going to attach this with this. So this whole left side is going to be attached to 1. So if we select that, this should, which one is it again? It's this one right here. So if we turn that on, that's 1 light bar mesh all in 1. So we're going to rename that, double click, type in siren 1, and that's going to be our first siren. Bring that to the top and then turn it off. And then second one, we're going to select these. This is going to be siren 2, or like this, these 4. So this is going to be siren 2. Rename it to siren 2 and do the same thing for each one. We're going to select these right here. This is going to be siren 3. Rename. Same process, turn it off, and then lastly we're going to attach all of these, and this should be our last siren. It's going to be siren 4. Once again, you do not have to do exactly like this. If you want a more complex pattern, then use more fucking sirens. For example, if I were going for a more well-suitable realistic vehicle, I wouldn't use 4 sirens. So I use 10. Like each one of these would be its own siren, just to get that light bar reflection that looks so dope in game, right? But since we're doing the 5M traditional way for this ZMOD series only, we're gonna have to go with this. So once you have all your sirens selected, turn them off. You want to activate the other parts of the glass. We can leave that out yet. Actually, let's just rename it to siren_glass. Mask A is going to be that light bar itself, so we're going to rename it to extra 1, because I want the light bar to be an extra. I want it to be toggled on and off. So we're going to bring that to the bottom and turn it off. And then what's the last thing? Extra 1. Okay, this is, oh, we left out a piece actually, so let me go ahead and attach that real quick. There we go. So extra 1 is going to be our takedown. So this is how you set up takedowns on the light bar. First and foremost, you want to open up the hierarchy and make sure you don't have any other extra lights. If you do, for example, we have extra light 2 there and extra light 1. So we can't use none of these, so we're going to have to use the next numbers, which is going to be extra light _3. So we're going to rename this to extra light _3. And obviously, if your hierarchy doesn't have extra lights, then you're going to use extra light 1. Makes sense. So select it, auto off, display, this little drop down right here, reset to world, make sure X and Y are on, left click, and then come back over here, sensor to local, axis, left click again, and this green thingy should be right in the middle. Create, copy it, modify, you could deselect it, auto back on, and then right click on the copy, convert to dummy, drag in the actual light bar or the takedown emissive inside of that. So what that is, if you turn these off, the one on top should be this blue box, and then the bottom one should be the actual light. You're gonna go ahead and compound them. So make sure you are selected on the dummy, the blue box. Go over to LO, make sure all these are off, convert a compound, lock, L0, and then bring this to the top, select it, and then go to vertex mode up here. So once again, what I did was, let me dismiss this. I make sure that I'll autosave. All right, so when you have it like this, make sure that the actual dummy is selected, and then once it's done auto saving, we're gonna go ahead and click convert a compound, log, LO, drag it inside. I'm gonna take a sip of my G Fuel real quick. All right, so convert a compound, log it, LO, bring it back on top. It should be like this. We're gonna select it, go to vertex mode, left click anywhere, and it should turn into little red dots. Select all of it, and then go over to properties, external state, ID, turn that to 14. So that pretty much makes it when we turn on our high beams in game, these will come on as well. Click apply, and go back to the object mode, and boom, you're done. That's your takedown. And let's just put this at the top as for now and turn it off. Alrighty, next thing we're gonna want to do is adjust our straps. So select the whole light bar, then go back to vertex mode and make sure nothing is selected. Head over to these little straps over here, select one of them, and then turn on the vehicle, show all. Actually, it's gonna go on top like so. Turn off the doors. This is what I like to do. So the doors are off, and pretty much from here, just adjust the straps. So I could actually grab the top one as well, like so. All right, sweet. And then we will just extend the strap out like so. I'm not gonna make this perfect for the sake of the tutorial, but you could play around with it to have it as realistic as possible. Obviously, you don't want the strap to be like this, floating, right? You don't want that. You want it to be as close as possible to the body shell of the vehicle. Let's bring this down. Okay, that's good. And then lastly, bring these down and have it curve. This ain't perfect, but for sake of tutorial, it's gonna work out. And if it's clipping, just make sure to drag it out, and then just show all. And if it's not clipping through the doors, it should be good. So like right there, that's somewhat perfect. We could adjust that strap right there, but once again, it's like tutorial, I'm not really gonna worry about it too much. Maybe just push it back down more. Perfect. All right, there we go. And do the same thing for the other side. So turn off the vehicle and then select the whole strap like so, and then turn back on the police car, and then toy around, or actually turn off the doors. Apologize, turn off the doors, and then just adjust the strap once again. That is good. And then select all of this and bring it down like so, and then deselect car, and then adjust the strap like this. Deselect, bring it on top, and then we could bring it down a bit more actually. There we go. Turn on the doors. All right, that's somewhat decent. Not perfect, but y'all get the point. All right, we're gonna go back to object mode, and then we're gonna turn off everything, and then we're gonna turn everything on from the light bar. Let's drag our sirens for now. Okay, so once we have that selected, here's the actual light bar setup. You're gonna want to select everything. I thought I missed something. I think I did. I just saw this little black piece, but it's good, right? This is obviously the lighting components. You could bring it up a little bit. I'm not gonna do that. I'll do it in the later episode. So turn on everything related to light bar except the takedowns. Select everything. Auto off. Display. This is really important. Display. little drop down, reset to world, click, and then center to local axis, and then go to properties, scale. Usually if you have a light bar that has 0.92, or like it's not like this, it's not 1.000 on all of them, then that means that you have to reset it manually. So for example, sometimes when I move a light or a light of any sort, it's sometimes listed like this. When it has that, you just want to type in 1000 3 times and then just click apply, and it should work. And then just to be 100% secure, redo the process. Boom. Once you have that set up, create, copy, deselect, auto back on, and then the copies, you're gonna select all of them. So hold shift and then left click and then right click, convert to dummy, and then drag these in as they correspond. So siren 2 goes to siren 2, siren 3 to siren 3, siren 4 to siren 4, and then siren glass, siren glass. Go to the top one, hold your right arrow key, and then should open all these open. Deselect anything. We're gonna turn off the lights except the dummies, and then we're gonna actually turn everything off except siren 1. So let's turn back on siren 1. So this is the first dummy, and this is pretty much key to making your light bar reflections work. This is on my older tutorials. This is something I would always do, and I do regret doing it now. This is something that I learned obviously as time went on, as my skill developed. I would select all the dummies and I would just hide them in the center of the vehicle where they're not visible. Do not do that. I repeat, do not do it. Why? One, it creates problems when you crash on something, like minor impact damage on anything. The light bar lights will go crazy. They will go everywhere. We don't want that. That's something that my clients really complained about on my older vehicles. Obviously my newer stuff doesn't have this issue anymore, thankfully. But yeah, you don't want to select all the dummies and then put them at the bottom. We do not want that. So what we want, we actually want to keep it near the light source. So right here, this is actually perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep that right there. And then same thing with siren 2. If you're happy with the location where it's at by default, don't move it. That's a nice spot right there, so we don't have to worry about that. Siren 3, that's a decent spot for me. Or actually we can move this more. So X, because this is going to be red in my carcals, so we're going to move this a bit more towards the red side, like so. Perfect. Turn this off, and then lastly siren 4, that's okay. You're going to want to select, turn on all the lights, turn off all the dummies, select all the lights. So left click and drag towards upward, turn off auto, turn on one dummy, go to display, reset apparent, X and Y must be on, and then just left click. And if you pay, I think it's pay close attention, you left click, you see how that moved. So depending on where you move the dummies, this should follow. Since we didn't move these dummies, they're gonna stay where they're at. But since we moved this one in particular, it's gonna move. And once that moved, that means you did it right. And then auto back on, turn off the dummy, select the lights again, and then go to scale, 0.01, 0.01, and 0.01 for all X, Y, and Z. Click apply, and then the light should have disappeared. Not really, they just scale down. If you select them, they're still there. Turn on extra one, and then siren glass. Select all of them. Make sure everything is selected. Auto off, go to create and copy, and then we're gonna create copies. You're gonna click 3 times, 1, 2, and 3. So we should have 4 of these. Go back to move, and then click on the top one. We're gonna do the LO compounding again. So click on the first very top one, convert a compound, lock it, L0, and then L1, L2, L3, unlock it and turn it back off, and then that should be like that. And then we're gonna do the same thing for the rest of the sirens. Once that has been compounded, you're gonna want to turn on the actual light bars. We're gonna create collisions now. So go up here to these create a box, and then just left click, and it should you know, move as you move your mouse, it should move as well. And then you just want to select over the light bar, then click OK, go to left view, and then this should be really large. We want to accommodate it so it fits the light bar as close as possible that we can. If we move this back, I think that should be, actually that's too small. Okay, that's good. We're gonna turn these off. I'm gonna create a copy. This is gonna be for the actual light bar itself. And then the top one, or the copy, we're gonna edit that one so it fits the siren glass. So pretty much we just have to make it skinnier, like so. Perfect. So we're gonna rename these to each extra one or siren glass. So this collision right here, the smaller one, which is this one, we're gonna name that to siren glass, and then we're gonna add a space, bracket COL in all caps, and then ending bracket, and then make sure all of these are off. Convert a compound, or excuse me, collision first, convert a compound, lock it, LO, deselect collision, and unlock it, and that's how you set up a collision. And then just drag the actual collision inside of the mesh, whatever it was. Same thing for extra one. We're gonna copy the name, extra one space, bracket COL. We got autosave. We're gonna wait for that. All right. I should put in the wrong bracket. COL. Same thing. Collision on, convert compound, lock, LO, and then drag that inside. Now we're gonna drag in the sirens inside, siren 3, and then siren 4, and then extra light, and then the siren glass, and then show all, and that's it. That's the Lightbar setup. Before we continue, open up your material browser, this little Pokemon ball, and then scroll all the way down, and then there should be this thing called Legend Emissives, or it could be named something Valor Emissives, Will and Liberty 2 Emissives, depending on the library that you're using. Left click, hold, and scroll it all the way to the top, and then just drag it there, and this should make the lights flash once we're in game. So that's the end of this tutorial. That's how you set up a light bar. Ferious, how come you didn't go over the carcoal, part? That's gonna be next episode. It's gonna be episode number 3. I setting up the carcoals, actually getting in game, but this is how you actually configure the light bar itself in ZModeler. This should work for any other light bar material, like a side runner, visor, same process. Follow the steps and you should be good. Hopefully y'all understand this tutorial. I don't think I'm the best at explaining. I think I explained too fast. Let me know how I'm doing down below. It really helps out. That way I can maybe slow down or go faster in the next few episodes to come. But yeah, this is how you set up a light bar. Thank you for watching.